Quinn and Cantera, PYX 106, 1-800-LAW-1010, 1-800-LAW-1010.com. Paul Harding from Martin Harding Mazzotti joins us, Cantera.
Hey, Paul.
Hey, good morning, guys.
I've been sitting on this story for about a week. It's from my home state of New Hampshire, and it just struck me as bizarre. But there's a guy who owns a mortgage company and has an electronic billboard outside of his office. And he puts up on that billboard disparaging things about other people in the community, businessmen in the community. And so...
Even a drug dealer, right?
He called him a drug dealer, right? So he put it... Well, here, he puts up images of an auto dealer CEO, a banker, and a developer accompanied by the words drug dealer and extortion on this large billboard. So there's a lawsuit. Not only does the guy lose the lawsuit, but somehow the money that they end up giving him is... They end up awarding is way more than they asked for, to the tune of $275 million.
He was representing himself, Paul, and he left before they picked the jury to decide the money. Maybe you can clear it up.
Well, it's hard to clear this one up. Rarely do you ever see a verdict for this defamation of character, right? We hear about it all the time. Someone says or writes something about someone that's untrue, and I'm going to sue you, and they talk about that. But there's really, the verdicts tend to be minuscule. Not this one. So this guy is, I guess he's a little bit of a local known character, right? He sort of does these things, and so he already has this little bit of a reputation out there, and the jury may have had some sense of that. But yeah, he called these people criminals, drug dealers, and they won the case, and then they went to the jury for damages, and this number, $274 million, came back. So don't know if it's going to hold up, but if it does, his billboard will be gone. He'll be gone.
What were they asking for? Wasn't it like $100 million? What were they asking for?
Well, they threw out $100 million, but even that to me seems so outrageous. But at least it set in the jury's mind that these are big numbers that we're looking for, and I'm sure they are floored by this result. But we got to dial back to what this is. In terms of defamation of character, you have to prove like 3 or 4 things, but generally you have to prove that the defendant said it, that the statement was false. Because if you say you're a drug dealer and you really are a drug dealer, there's no case, right?
Yeah,
good point. Yeah.
The tough element is always proving damages, because what's the financial loss to somebody, reputationally or financially, of being called a certain name when probably the general community knows that this guy is sort of an outrageous guy, the defendant here.
You give a lot of credit to the general community these days, Paul. There's a lot of sheep out there who will follow, what they hear. Just saying.
Well, yeah. So I just don't think this verdict's going to be upheld for that amount of money, but it's going to be upheld for an amount of money, and one that could wipe out this defendant.
Oh, yes. Okay, so an amount of money, but is there a way around this guy who put the sign up not to pay at all?
Well, he can appeal and say, listen, the jury just sort of blew it. They didn't. They shouldn't have found defamation of character. But I think that's going to be tricky to find, because that's well within their purview to do that. But what he's going to attack is the fact that there's just an outrageous amount of money here. Maybe I owe $20,000, maybe I owe $5,000, maybe I owe $100, but not in the millions.
$274 million.
And if the money isn't there, well, then what happens? If for some reason it did go this guy's way.
Yeah, I mean, it's unlikely he has $274 million, right? You just can't really find many people who've got that kind of bank account. So ultimately, they either settle it for something that he has, or 2, they could force him to sell his assets and kind of liquidate him and then take what he has.
They couldn't make him be his personal, gopher for the rest of his life, kind of.
Wash the car like Biff. Yeah. No, I don't think so. They don't have it in New York. I'm going to assume New Hampshire follows a very similar code that is not going to allow any public servitude here to pay off the debt.
Paul, so the Martin Harding and Mazzotti office building is at a prime location for a billboard.
Oh, yeah.
Have you ever thought about going up there?
No, we have not, but maybe after this we will.
You're at a great intersection there. Lots of
lots of visibility.
You can start slandering Quinn and Cantera.
Well, that would be great, man.
Use the press,
We would let you hammer us every single day, and
we'll
even pay for it.
Yeah.
Well, it's a staggering number. I have a lot of friends who still live in New Hampshire, so I'll watch this story for us.
Crazy.
Appreciate your insight,
Thanks, Paul.
Absolutely, guys.
1-800-LAW-1010 or 1-800-LAW-1010.com. Paul Harding from Martin Harding Mazzotti. PYX 106.
Quinn and Cantera. Mornings on PYX 106.